My name, as all of you know, is Marcus Defoe. I am in charge of making sure that you arrive prepared for operations. Our competition is designed to be a system of merit. We want the best of the best to go down to Eden and work for us. You already know the rewards we've arranged for being one of the best. My job is to hone the skills and impart the knowledge you'll need before you go to the Adamites' home planet. This process will be very difficult. He snaps his fingers and Babel assistants ghost into the room. Their padded footsteps are the only sound. I notice that Vandermeer is one of them. I nod at him and he smiles back. The workers place a black ring in front of each of us. They're plain and undecorated. Like curious kids, we pluck the rings up and start examining them. Mine's cold to the touch. I can feel something, too. Something pulling at me as I turn it over in my palm. The substance feels active, frenetic with energy. It wants something. I slide it onto a ring finger, and I'm not surprised it fits perfectly. Babel seems like the kind of company that gets the details right. You'll learn to use Nyxia through a series of different tasks, Defoe explains, the first of which will begin right now. Another shock ripples across the table. Already? We didn't even know we were in space 2 minutes ago. Bilal glances over at Kaya and me. His hands are still trembling nervously, but he whispers, "Good luck, yeah?" "You too," I reply, and I mean it. I'm glad we bumped into each other. He's a nice kid. A nice kid who I still want to beat. Have to beat. When this is all over, Bilal will go back to Palestine, and I'll go back to Detroit, and I want to do it as a winner, as one of the 8 who succeeded. I look away, hoping he won't be in the bottom 2, but hoping even more that I can beat him. Defoe holds up the dagger he threw this morning, an eternity ago. Light shivers down its length. One of the most crucial functions of your training will be the creative manipulation of Nyxia. We want you to be able to use the resource you're mining for us. It takes concentration. With a flick, the dagger shrinks down to the size of a perfectly round stone. Defoe holds it up for all of us to see. Step 1. Transform your ring into a stone. You may begin. I scramble to get the ring off my finger. The whole group is drawn into concentrated silence. That connection I felt earlier kicks back to life. I do my best to hold on to that link, and I imagine a stone. The thought physically leaves my brain. For a second, I stare blankly at my hands. What was I trying to do? And then the thought appears in the surface of the pitch-black metal. My ring shudders in my palm and molds itself into a marble. I smile in relief and look around the table. Most of the others have completed the task too. Only Bilal and the Brazilian girl, Isadora, haven't. My first instinct is to help Bilal, but I don't know how I would help him, and I don't know why I would help him. If this is a test, let him struggle. The thought's a cold one, and I shiver a little as the screen behind Defoe produces an image, a pair of leather driving gloves. Step 2. Manipulate your substance into this pair of gloves. This one's harder. My first thought trembles into the stone before I've settled the color of the picture into my brain. It leaves half-formed, and I'm holding gloves that are missing a few fingers. I'm amazed at how soft they feel, how like real gloves they look. I stare at the image, focus, and summon the thought again. Just like before, it slips from my brain and leaves me half lost. Then, the Nyxia reacts, and I have my gloves. On the walls around us, scores appear. I'm 7th. The thought makes my hands sweat. Only Bilal, Jazzy, and Isadora are below me. Longway, the stubborn Asian kid with the front sweep, has the highest point total. By a long shot, too. Babel's message is loud and clear. Winning matters. Defoe eyes the results, and the whole room waits as Isadora continues attempting to make her gloves. She's sweating, and I feel for her, but I'm just glad it's not me. Bilal's 8th. He gives me a nervous look. "It will get better, yeah?" he whispers. I shoot him a quick nod, but I'm too focused to give him anything more than that. I don't have time to pat backs and press pedals. Defoe touches a button and the image disappears. "Lastly, I need you to produce a flower with a purple stem and 10 petals." I wait for him to hold up an image, but instead he crosses the room and starts sorting through papers. No guiding image this time, then. I try to picture the strange flower, but I get distracted when Longway's name goes bold on the scoreboard. A bunch of points get added into his total. I glance across the table and see him tucking the flower into his suit pocket. His eyes narrow in a satisfied smile. He knows we'd all like to see what his looks like to make our own transformation easier. I force myself to concentrate. Purple stem, 10 petals, 10 petals. My Nyxian gloves merge and shrink into a lavender stem. Petals, though, are missing. A few more names go bold on the scoreboard, and I'm sweating as I form another thought and release it. The flower appears, but I have too many petals. Panicking, I try it again, and fail again. By the time I've created the right flower, 7 others have already finished, including Babil. I've defeated only Isadora and Rothi. If they did cuts today, I would have avoided walking away empty-handed by exactly 4.3 seconds. I stare at my inept purple flower and try not to have a panic attack. Slow and steady wins the race. This is just one event. Just one. Defoe turns to us when the scores solidify. "As we progress, I will ask you to make bigger and more complex images and items. You're welcome to consult each other for advice on successful manipulation, but I wouldn't want to trade secrets if I knew something everyone else didn't. Please transform your substance back into a ring and follow me." I glance up to see that Longway is already sliding his over his finger. My roommate Kaya and Azima follow shortly after. The top 5 form up ranks as the stragglers, including me, stumble after them. I try to keep my chin up, but I feel like I'm lagging behind already. What makes them so much better at it? How is Longway so unnaturally fast? For the next 3 hours, Defoe takes us through a host of other random tasks. Each of us swims for 10 minutes in a turbine tank that simulates gale force winds. Katsu makes a joke about whales, and the attendants have to pull him out just 1 minute into swimming. He lies on the floor with his hands on his stomach and laughs. Defoe doesn't look amused. I'm not the fastest swimmer in the group, but I manage a top 3 that pushes me more safely up the scoreboard. After drying off, we spend an hour in an actual classroom learning about Eden's plant life and some indigenous species. We're surprised by a quiz at the end, which I fail. I was listening, but the names got jumbled in my head. I beat myself up over the mistake. Every point matters. Every single point. Longway aces the quiz and keeps his distance at the top of the scoreboard. Luckily, Rothi scores worse than me, and his numbers continue to sink with each new task. Our eyes always drift to the scoreboards. It's addicting to see where we stand, to see what we could have improved upon. Only Longway never looks, because where else would he be except for first place? Every now and again, Defoe pauses and asks us to manipulate our Nyxian rings into some new form. I get better as we go along, but so does everyone else. Babil especially is improving, and I can't help noticing his name climbing into the spots where mine should be. At one point, he remarks on his progress. I pretend not to hear him. We perform simulated evasion exercises, as well as a set of situational tests designed to help us understand the way atomites think. When we finally break for lunch, my eyes drag down the scoreboard. Longway, Jamie, and Azima make up the top 3, and Longway has a commanding lead. I'm number 7, almost 300 points behind Babil. I thought I'd be better than this. All the thrill from earlier today has vanished. We're tired from swimming and running and thinking. Tired from seeing other names above us on the leaderboard and from trying to make small talk in between tasks. Defoe and some of the techies watch from a corner of the cafeteria as we slump into our seats and stare at our plates. I know they're happy. Competition is afoot. Their warriors are being crafted and hardened. Iron sharpens iron, Defoe said. He was right. At the end of this, I'll be harder and sharper and colder than I could have ever imagined. I take another bite and remember that it's worth it. The sweat and the competition and the suffering. All I have to do is win Babel's game, and I'll go home a king.